Hello everyone, I'm Brenda Harvey, author of the Conspiracy series. Welcome back to this channel. Oh my gosh, this is my third attempt at filming this intro. This week has not been the best week for me mentally, so I really just need a distraction from this. So, here we go. Actually, I know I've explained this before, but I'm trying to knock out as many videos as I can over the summer that will be released during the school year, so I don't have to stress about that. As you guys know, I will be a junior in high school coming up, so yeah. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about if you should have a book series. Now, for me, I knew I wanted to write a trilogy when I sat down, but I know a lot of people that is not where they're at. So I'm just going to take some time to discuss what should be in a series, if maybe a standalone book would be a better option for you guys, and just kind of try to help you guys make sure you have that delicate balance of not being cash grabby, but also being able to produce your best product. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So let's start with my biggest pet peeve. Don't be cash grabby, obviously. One of the most cash grabby things in cinema is you're adapting a book series and you cut the last book in two. That is so friggin' cash grabby. But we're gonna watch it. I mean, let's be honest. Like, no one is going to say, they were being so cash grabby in that last movie. I'm just not gonna watch the next one. Very rarely will that ever happen. Now, books, on the other hand, that is a lot different. Because people are a lot more willing to put down a book because it's a lot more effort. Let's be honest, it's a lot more effort to read than it is just to mindlessly watch a movie. And a lot of people, when they're watching movies at home, they have their computer or their television turned on and they have their phone with them and they're playing a game or texting or whatever, and only half paying attention to the movie. It's a lot easier to be cash grabby in cinema than it is to be with books. So, I can mention this again, I know, but one of my biggest pet peeves is when you have a successful book series and the author is just like, you know what, I'm gonna throw in another add-on book. That is so cash grabby, and so many series, not just series I hate, series I actually enjoyed, do that so many times, and I hate it. Like, am I gonna read it? Yes, because I am a bookworm. It doesn't make it as good as the other ones. That's just a fact. And let's be real, don't underestimate the intelligence of your reader. If someone is smart enough to bother to pick up your book and actually read, they're gonna know if you're being cash grabby. They just are. Readers are smart. Your readers are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. That's just a fact. And you've got to think, does it actually make sense for this to be a series? Does it? Or does it make a lot more sense to be a standalone book? Like the new book I'm writing, it makes a lot more sense for it to just be a standalone book, and you will know when you read the very end of that, when that book comes out, 2024, 2027. And just because you have more books doesn't mean you're going to make more money. Like I said, readers will know if you're being cash grabby, and if the first book had no depth to it, they're not going to pick up the second one. They're not going to buy the second one. What's the point? You can have the best second book in the world, but if your first book sucked, they're not going to buy it. And I have another video where I talk about how much money I made somewhere. I shot it at least a year ago. More books does not necessarily mean more money, and again, if you're going to be an author with the goal of making money, that's not how this works. You have to be an author with the goal of influencing people and helping the world and changing minds. Now, something you need to consider is every single book needs to have its own plot. the books should almost be able to stand on their own, and depending on how you wrote, they can. You can't, especially a first book, if you're not sure if you're going to write a series and you just publish the first book and kind of test the waters, if you don't know if you're going to write another book, you need to be able to have that standalone. You need to have a beginning, middle, and end that says, okay, the story is done. What about cliffhangers? So, cliffhangers. How you do a cliffhanger is you have your plot, and then it ends. So your story ends, but then you kind of like reach out into the next book. So basically, the end of your first book should be the start of your second book. Does that make sense? Here, let me read the end of my book. So if you have not read my books, go buy them down below right now. All right, let me flip to the very end. Okay. So if you have, so this is chapter 26, page 204 I'm looking at, and it's going to be the last paragraph. If you guys have read my books, you would know that in the last chapter, I believe? Yes. In the last chapter, one of the characters was kidnapped and tortured, and some cray-cray happened. Does anyone say cray-cray anymore? Craziness ensued. That's a big word. And just a lot of crap happened. The character is fine, as we know, because we read the second book. So this is the very last paragraph in the very last paragraph in the last chapter of the first book, The Conspiracy. Try to sleep, I urged. We have a few hours in this boat. Without another word, I turned my attention back to steering the boat. The cold night air whipped my hair out of my face. I glanced back at the island that I had lived on for so long. Fugitives from the order, I thought, turning back to the front of the ship. So, the end of The Conspiracy was, hold on, let's break the book back out. This is page 200. I cannot read. The last third, this is chapter 25, right before the very end of this chapter, and I did leave this cliffhanger in this chapter, which is why I'm not reading like the very end of that. So, oh, the alliance would make it worse, I mocked. Look at your history. The problems of this world can all be blamed on the Order and Alliance feud. Can it really? Brady seemed surprised. Yes, I shouted. Even if there was no alliance, some people would have to die in this damn world. Get used to it. I know some people have to die. Lily did not have to die of 1,000 cuts, and I know it can happen. Believe me, I know. Oh, and another thing. An army of guards at your command, and you did nothing to stop them? Why? Iris, you are confined to this room until I deal with this. Barry turned to leave. I'm sorry, but I doubt you'll make it out of this alive. So that is technically the end of The Conspiracy. Now, like I said, that's the second to last chapter, not the last chapter, and I already read the very end of the last chapter. That is how cliffhangers work, and I'm going to dive deeper into that in my video on chapters. I don't know if that comes out before or after this, but I'm pretty sure it comes out after. So I'm going to talk about cliffhangers a lot more, and if you guys would like me to do an entire video talking about cliffhangers, let me know down below. So, anyway, all of your books must, at minimum, have rising action and a climax. If you've read the lead, I have a question for you. Where do you think the climax is? Let me know in the comments. I'm actually very curious to see your opinions, because writing is meant to be interpreted. So, let me know. I'm actually very curious on this. So, anyway, moving on to the next thing, which is every book must have character development. How did they change throughout the book? So, let's take the lead, for example. Iris learns to become more open and more trusting to other people. There needs to be lessons learned. There needs to be some kind of character development. There needs to be a purpose in the character, not just in the plot. Because no character means no plot. No character means no story. You can have the best plot in the world, but if you don't have any characters to move it forward, then it's not going to work out. That's the truth of the matter. Alright. And so you need to have character development. You really, really do. Otherwise, it is boring, nothing happens, and then people end up mocking it on the internet because of how bad it is. Me being one of them. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys. Next, we're going to talk about a reason to keep going with more books. Now, obviously, if you've already planned, this is going to be a trilogy, this is going to be a group of 4 books, this isn't going to apply. But if you have already written a standalone book, and your readers are really enjoying it, and you're thinking, maybe I should write another book in the series, that is what this is for, and you need a reason to keep going. Obviously, for something that's meant to be a trilogy, the reason to keep going you have broken up the book, okay, so we have a story here, a story here, a story here. And that is exactly what you're going to do with another book, except it's not going to be as essential that you write another book, which is going to be very difficult. Now, with your reason to keep going, that's probably going to be you purposefully left a couple of loose ends just in case. Loose ends tend to be the best plots for next books, because otherwise, let's just be honest, it's not good. And every single book you write needs to start somewhere and needs to end somewhere. There needs to be some kind of character development, like I talked about a little bit ago. Why do you want another book? And what is going to be the story? Because so many authors, it's like, my books are doing really well, I'm gonna come out with another one, just like a bonus. Because if your readers really enjoy it, they're gonna read it. I know, I have read some not that great books just because they were add-ons to another series. And I don't know if that's just the author being cash grabby or if it's the publishing company being cash grabby. And again, one thing I love about KDP, you choose what you publish. There is no publishing agent breathing down your neck saying, hey, your book series is doing really well. You should publish another one to make you more money. Let's be honest, that's what's happened. So it's really hard to get that delicate balance of, okay, my readers want more, but can I produce something that is going to make sense in the story and stand alone? And oh my gosh, telling the story from another character's perspective. They're normally not even close to as good. And people don't want to read the same story again. Okay, correction. People do want to read the same story again because that is pretty much what they do all day long. But it's really cash grabby. It's normally not as good as the original ones. And you guys, let's be honest, there's a reason side characters are side characters. Taking a side character's perspective and making them the main character of an add-on book, it honestly doesn't make any sense. It's just one thing I vowed when I was writing, and honestly, when I published The Killers, which is the last book, I said I wasn't going to publish anything else in the conspiracy series unless I felt like it was as good, if not better, than the original 3. So that's just how it's going to work. Okay, you guys, I think it's raining. And if you don't know, I have an obsession with going out and dancing in the rain. So if I come back, I'm gonna look like a hot mess. It's not raining. You wanna say hi? Hi, gorgeous girl. So this is going to be the question. What about books that were originally meant to be standalone? So you wrote the book as a standalone, but now you're kind of like, I might have more story to tell. Should I continue? Well, is there actually more story to tell, or is this a cash grab? Again, you cannot be cash grabby. Because just, let's be honest, short form content, YouTube, streaming services, books, they're not going anywhere, but their popularity is going way, 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 way down because people have other entertainment now. So why sit down with a book and read? So do you actually have a story to tell, or are you cash grabby? Because let's be honest, if you're cash grabby, a lot of the time it's not really going to work. And I need you to ask yourself, why are you writing another? Why? Are you writing another because your fans want it? Have you gotten emails, letters? Hey, what happens to such and such a character after this? And the truth is, if that's what they want, write it. And if it is as good as the first one, if not better, what the heck? What do you have to lose? But one thing you just can't do is publish a sequel for the sake of publishing a sequel. And I know if you have a publishing company breathing down your neck, that's going to be a lot harder. But ultimately, you're in control. This is your series, so what are you going to do? And that's just a reality of things. So this is something that you're going to have to take case by case. And if you want to ask me, like, hey, can you read my book and give me feedback, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know. But not everything can be perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. Make sure to buy my 3 books, The Conspiracy, The Lead, and The Killers. And leave any questions, comments, concerns you have for me in the comments, because I love to read them and I love to respond to them. I think that's all I got for you, so I will see you guys next Saturday with another video. Bye!